In all honesty, I was a little bit nervous about buying this product in the first place, but 12 months on, this is something that has found its way into my everyday life as a digital artist. Welcome back to the channel, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. We're going to be talking about this device right here, my Sketchboard Pro. This is a device which I absolutely love. It's taken my digital art to a whole new level, and it's been just over 12 months since I originally got it. I did do a video on it about my first impressions and what I thought. You can check it out somewhere on the screen right now. But let's have a look today at some of the things I've learned over the last 12 months of owning this awesome piece of kit. We're going to be looking at things like usability, the drawing angle, how much I actually use Sketchboard Pro, and who it's really designed for, and at the end, my overall rating for the Sketchboard Pro. So let's not waste any more time. We all know why we're here. 12 months on, what do I think? First up, as promised, we're going to talk about usability. Now, this is a device that I honestly really do use quite a bit, and it really is very easy to use. And for me, that probably is one of the most beneficial things when it comes to adding any piece of kit to my digital art workflow or my art workflow in general. Is it easy to use? Is it something that I'm going to grab each and every time and just be really excited to use it? And is it going to work with everything else that I'm doing? And yes, the Sketchboard Pro does. It's been very, very well designed, even down to how you're going to charge. You can have that charging cable directly in the charging port while the iPad is in Sketchboard Pro, and that charging cable is going to be coming out of the bottom of the device as well, which is really, really nice. Makes everything super friendly and really adds to the ease of use of this device. Like I mentioned earlier, this is very, very easy to use. It's very quick to get the iPad into this device, and it's very, very easy to move around as well. And on the back of that, it's also very sturdy. So overall usability is absolutely fantastic. And again, it's the reason why I'm going to this again and again. Multiple times a week I use this, and every single time there's no dramas at all. So for me, that's a massive tick for usability. The second thing I want to cover today is the drawing angle. I talked a little bit about it a second ago, but let's dive further into this. Again, really there are only two angles that are going to provide the sturdiest top for you to work on. They're the two that I use primarily, but again, I do use landscape more than I use portrait, but there are times that I switch between. On that, it is really, really easy to switch between these angles, which is super nice. You don't have to remove the iPad at all. We're just going to be folding the legs in and out depending on which angle you want to use. This can be done in a couple of seconds, and it's very easy to get straight back to drawing. I have heard some people out there who are using Sketchboard Pro or who maybe want to use it. They talk about the angle and say that there's not a lot of variation there. This is a very subjective thing to look at, and it really is going to vary depending on the person who's using it. Again, when you do offer a lot of variation when it comes to drawing angles, a lot of the times you lose a lot of that sturdiness I was talking about before. So for me personally, I'm willing to adjust a little bit around the Sketchboard Pro, make it work for me. But again, those angles, absolutely perfect for what I do. But then again, I also have a table here that has an adjustable height. So I guess I have a little bit of advantage in that point of view. I can move that table up and down as I please, but I'll be honest with you, it stays at this height most of the time. So for me, it wasn't an issue, but I can understand why that could be an issue for some people. But I'll be honest with you, give it a go. I think you're gonna love it just as much as I did. The third thing I want to talk about today is how much I actually used Sketchboard Pro. Now, I know a lot of people out there buy certain products for the channel, they do an initial review, and they say I use it all the time, but really how much do they use it? I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I use this product a lot, multiple times a week. Like I mentioned earlier, it is a device that is, again, very easy to use, and that's going to be a massive benefit. Always the best piece of kit you can get is the one that's either going to be with you all the time or one that is very, very easy to implement into your workflow. And that's what this Sketchboard Pro is. It might not be with me all the time, but when I'm at home and I want to work in that studio environment like you can see around me here, it's nice to have a bigger surface with the iPad to work on. And on the back of that as well, it's something that I enjoy using. And this is something I think a lot of people forget about. You have to really enjoy a product or see yourself enjoying a product to want to go back and use that product over and over and over again. So it is safe to say that in the last year of owning this device, or just over a year, I've easily averaged a couple of times a week when I'm at home that I use this device, and it's amazing. Now let's jump right along to the fourth thing we're going to talk about today. Who is this best designed for? Now this is a tricky one. Again, this is going to be really subjective, but personally, I think this is going to be designed for people who want to draw and create art on their iPads, and they want a little bit bigger of a surface to work on. For me, coming from a design background for the last 20 years of my life, I'm used to working on really, really large tablets. So for me, the iPad Pro is actually a bit of a smaller device than I'm used to. So the Sketchboard Pro allows me to have that feeling of a bigger work surface, even though I'm not drawing on parts of the Sketchboard Pro. Obviously, they're just there for support and the way it feels. But what it adds to my iPad Pro really gives me a feeling of having a lot of control and being able to get in and work on little bits and pieces and make it a bit more of a professional workflow for me. But again, this is going to be something super subjective. I can see a lot of people using this. I don't know if it's going to be that device that you're going to grab if you're going to be just jotting down notes really quickly, although it definitely could be. There's many, many applications. I can also see architects benefiting from something like this very, very much, especially if they're out drawing from reference. Maybe they're working on a building. I can also see artists using this if they're drawing from live reference. They're in a studio setting. They've got someone they're modeling for them. This would be a perfect addition. It's going to give you that bigger surface and allow you to really move that iPad around or get in, work on all those little bits and pieces that you need a bit more detail on. Now, time for my overall rating. I'm going to give this an 8 out of 10. It's pretty high, I know, but it's a device that I personally thought was worth the money. That's owning it for over 12 months now. It's a device that I consider part of my workflow as a digital artist. It's something that I rely on. It's very sturdy. I've never had one problem with the materials at all. It's something that I enjoy using. It's something that I get a lot of questions about from other people who are interested in it. And I know other artists as well that get a lot of use out of it. So for me, I'm very, very happy to give the Sketchboard Pro an 8 out of 10. It is something that's going to stay with me for the foreseeable future. So those are my thoughts from someone who has owned the Sketchboard Pro now for over 12 months. It's a fantastic device. If you can get your hands on one, I highly suggest it. If you do, or if you already own one, leave me some comments down below. I'd love to see what you think about the Sketchboard Pro. If you love it, if you hate it, whatever it is, let's interact down in the comments below, and I'll catch you in the next video.